Geek Tank Radio, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from Herman Munster's birthday party. Was he born or constructed? I feel like there's ethical questions here.
Well, it's kind of a
it's
activation day.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know if I want to know exactly where he came from.
Well, but I love his choice of birthday songs.
Yeah.
You light up my life.
Well, I mean, here's the great thing about it. Coming soon to Netflix, you're going to find all about Herman's origin.
Do you care about that, man?
I am excited.
Yeah.
Because it's corny, it's ridiculous, and anybody who thinks that it looks, oh my God, they destroyed the monsters. No.
You can't.
No, this is exactly what the monsters has always been.
Although I did like the theme song, Shock the Monkey.
There you go.
It's Herman. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
He's absolutely fabulous.
Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And yeah, I guess Rob Zombie's making a Munsters something, and if it's a spoof,
no,
I don't know if it's tribute. I
was gonna say, all right, did you watch the Munsters growing up?
That's what I was about to say. I'm a Munster purist. Like, I mean, that's
all right.
To me, that was like one of the most perfectly cast shows. Herman Munster is one of the greatest characters on TV.
All right, here's the thing.
Yeah,
what we have here is
the Munsters was a spoof show.
I mean, yes, the Munsters as itself was a satirical comedy based on Universal monster characters,
right?
Which they didn't have any of the rights to, so they had to create their own version. But this is, just from what I've seen, and I've seen the internet going completely ridiculously upset about this. Like, oh my God, this isn't a Rob Zombie movie. Well, you were expecting, The Devil's Rejects. Rob Zombie is
Rob's got a sense of humor.
Well, Rob is like Joe. He is a Munsters purist. This is a love letter to the Munsters based on what we've known about, the courtship of Herman and Lily, and the fact that Grandpa did not want this to happen.
No,
he didn't want them together at all.
Spoiler: I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's
that's big premise.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about it. I thought you were a purist.
I never heard that part of it.
Yeah,
she married outside of the realm. She's a vampire.
I know.
They were a mixed marriage. Dude.
And then they produce a wolf. Wait, is Eddie a wolf?
He's a werewolf.
He's a werewolf.
All right, but dude, all right,
the canon of the. I mean, I didn't mean to get on a sidetrack with the Munsters.
No. You hit a big point in the fact that 60s movies and a lot of 60s shows very interestingly addressed bizarre topics in bizarre ways, and the fact was they're a mixed marriage.
Yeah,
so it's bigotry. They're dealing with that. Okay,
no, they're dealing with interracial couple.
Okay, well that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, that would have been a hot button topic. So yeah.
But he was created Frankenstein's monster, and Grandpa is obviously a vampire. Yeah. Lillian is obviously a vampire.
Yeah, but we now know that if you take a reanimated corpse with an abnormal brain and a vampire, you get a wolf cub.
Yeah, I mean, this is good to know.
And a normal girl.
If we
she's the niece, and Herman was normal at one point in his life.
Herman was human at one point in his life.
This is something we might have to go down the rabbit hole with the Munsters in a future episode.
Dude,
not today.
Totally set it up.
The metaphysics of the Munsters.
I will totally be down for that. I love the Munsters. You want to hit on the Munsters? You want to hit on the Addams Family? Any of that? I am all for it, and we can do that in time for the Netflix premiere of The Munsters and the new Wednesday series, which is happening this fall.
What about this, too? Maybe we even get a little bit of a Motor Mouths crossover because they had the absolute coolest vehicles.
They really did.
So maybe we get Bud in here. And
they had the vehicle.
Yeah, we can get Bud and Ditch in here to talk about, it's like, hey, we do a 2-hour retrospective on the Munsters and put it online for folks.
And we need to bring in one of our friends that, Brandon, you're a big pet guy.
I am.
Yeah,
they had a big pet.
They did.
Well, it just shows how organic things are here. At we make a little comment about
it's
about
always
Herman's,
growing, guys.
Right. So look for Munster content in the future. But Allan, hey, it's okay. Among other things, it's Comic-Con weekend, and it's funny. We're all very dismissive of San Diego. Full disclosure is one of my favorite places on earth.
Okay,
I live there. I think it's great, and somehow I never made it to Comic-Con,
San Diego is the place where I was on stage in front of the most people I've ever been on stage in front of. So I have fond memories of San Diego.
Yeah, yeah, but all of us prefer like Dragon Con or something. I mean, in terms of what we're going for with the mega cons.
When we go into do conventions, we want to do something fun. And I'm not saying that San Diego's not fun, but if I want to go on the line ride, I'll go to Disney.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically jam-packed like sardine. They really need almost twice as much space as they have.
And the great thing about it is today with, the amount of YouTubers who are out there who are either comic collectors or toy hunters or anything like that, you get to see the inside of all these booths on preview night. And then throughout the weekend as they evolve, why do I need to go stand in the line for it when I can watch it from the comfort of wherever I've got my phone?
Right.
And if we're ever celebrities at this thing, we're stuck in a booth together.
Oh, gosh.
We get stuck in a booth together.
Pretty small booth. So, yeah. I mean, I don't want to dismiss it. Some people, they live for Comic-Con.
But if San Diego calls and says, come sit in your booth, we'll go sit in our booth.
It is an amazing experience. And I would say, if that's what you want, you definitely need to do it. It's just not for me when I could go to Dragon Con and do 14 friggin' hotels full of all pure geek fundom.
Yeah,
true.
And Allan, so you've got I guess this ties in with Comic-Con because you, of all people, brought us the list. This seems like something Brandon would have done, but you've got a big list of geekdom on tap, you could say.
Yeah.
So.
Don't worry. You haven't seen the pages of notes that I've already taken for next week's episode.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Well, we had our buddy Scott J. Carroll here last week, and he was talking about how obscure things have become huge geeky things, and we were picking them mostly on Stranger Things and other shows.
Right.
So I got curious last night, and I just went, how much geek is there in the pipeline?
Yeah.
I've seen your list.
I clicked.
You've got a lot more scratching to do.
Dude, I just got tired of writing it with page one. I just went, that's all I'm going to write down.
Yeah.
Because
we only get an hour, Allan.
Yeah, that is exactly what I thought. I started going, I could have sat here and written for the next hour because I didn't go deep.
No.
I did not get off of, honestly, the center beaten path.
But that's the amazing thing about geekdom right now. You don't have to go deep to find quality content.
And I'm going to start right out of the... I'm backing up the Velveeta truck. I am backing up. I mean, the cheesiest thing that popped up first that I'm going to have to watch for no other reason than the fact it started out with, I am Groot.
Yes.
So here is cute little baby Groot.
Yeah. They're running a series around him?
Yep. There is a whole series.
Is this animated or live action?
It's CG.
It's CG kind of thing.
So we're going to get Roger Rabbit Groot, basically.
Wait, that's not probably.
Right,
well, you're kind of going to get Groot having little different adventures.
Okay.
You're going to have little baby Groot as the giant god. You're going to have all this kind of stuff. You're just really bizarre, but it looks cute.
But Disney
it's
Plus,
adorable. It's Disney Plus.
Right.
Okay.
It's Disney Plus. And then the next thing that hit me that I just went, and I actually had to watch it twice to really get it, was Prodigy.
Star Trek Prodigy. Yes.
Star Trek Prodigy. It came across, and I'll be honest, I was still thinking kind of cutesy, grootsy stuff.
Right, but
and
it's not.
Prodigy comes tearing across there, and I went, is that like Janeway as a hologram going, congratulations, boys, you're in space?
It is basically a teaching vessel that some miscreants abscond with in order to get off the planet they're stuck on.
Yes.
And then she teaches them the ways of Starfleet. But it's done in it's for kids, but it's not done in a condescending way. It's
it's for kids with a spaceship,
right? And it's we've got one season down, and it is amazing. You will love the first season.
Hey, I don't want to sidetrack, but Brandon, Janeway, I love Janeway, and if you watch that 2-part episode from Voyager, Year of Hell, and she's not like the coolest captain you ever saw. I don't know what to tell you, but. Are they true to her character on this?
They
because
really are.
She's very warm and compassionate, but she can also
she's also very no nonsense when it comes down to it.
She'll tear you off.
And she's clever. She outsmarts everybody.
But I just love the kid leaping into the captain's chair and getting the James T. Kirk look on his face and goes, "Make it go fast."
Yes.
And I
there
went,
you go.
That's a kid. That's
but
a kid.
they're
That's freaking awesome.
It's really good. In fact,
And I like the style.
In fact, honestly, I'm going
like
to tell
the
you,
animation style. On
if you like Star Trek and you check out Prodigy and you love it, jump on over to Netflix afterwards. And if you're a fan of the Jurassic Park stuff, check out Camp Cretaceous because it's the same kind. It's the same kind of entertainment. It's very kid focused, but it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
And of course, then I had to follow up with Lord of the Rings.
Well,
I had to follow up with Lord of the Rings because now it's all Rings of Power.
I keep telling myself it's like I'm not going to give Tolkien any more clicks. I'm not going to give Tolkien any more clicks.
And I'm going to watch it anyway.
So I avoided the trailer until I was watching something on Amazon Prime and it was in front of it, and I'm like, going, all right, I'm watching it.
And I'm going to have to watch this now because
well, they said it's the most expensive show ever made. Like technically, it's a TV
It
show.
looks
if
it.
you
It,
count
yeah,
it,
it's
it looks it though.
Yeah.
It
it's
does not have
gorgeous.
TV budget.
No.
It is like we went and rented New Zealand again.
it's pretty much
And it's
exactly what
like-
it looks like.
I've never seen a country base its entire economy on producing one series of movies
Hey.
and TV shows.
Hey,
But apparently they're doing pretty good with it.
it's good work if you can get it, man.
It's awesome. And then, of course, if you're going to be picturesque and you're going to be beautiful,
Oh, I know where you're going next.
and it has to be totally stunning, I have never said this about a movie before. The first thing that came to my mind was not who was the villain. Did not cross my mind.
You were like-
as I looked at Avatar 2.
You were like, when can I visit there?
So I don't know why. I just don't care about Avatar 2. But what is it about this that resonates with? Because when it came out, they made a big thing about the video production.
All right. The thing about Avatar is how it penultimately is shot.
Right.
You misused the word penultimately again,
No.
Mr. Author.
No, I used it
Penultimate
appropriately.
means second to last.
Yes, because they're not done.
Yeah, it's ever evolving.
It is
ever evolving.
evolving, but penultimately, I
think you're
use the word
misusing
again.
it. Okay, go ahead.
They are actually shooting the movie like Brandon chases Pokemon.
Okay.
Constantly doing something new.
It is a actual reality overlay. So
it is. It is augmented reality.
it is augmented reality. So everything you see on screen, while it is CGI and while it is an induced illusion, somebody is actually doing it.
Yeah.
But
Now,
you're approaching it from the technical aspect. What about the story?
All right,
but
because
because
that's
of
all I
that,
care
well,
about.
but because of that, the flight scenes are not what somebody imagines a flight scene to look like. The creature has to physically dip and move through the air like a real creature, which gives you, now we go back to Lord of the Rings, that panoramic, beautifully created world now is being demonstrated to you in a very fluid way.
The basic premise behind the storyline this time around, Joe, isn't so much of we must protect nature at all costs. It is now we must protect our family at all costs.
Yeah.
And our family is not necessarily who we are blood related to, but the people that we choose to bring around us. It's a very
It's called The Way of Water.
it's a very not James Cameron storyline. There's a moment in the trailer when you see their son.
Yeah.
And because he, he's half human, it's
He's
human.
gotta wear a mask,
It's
right?
human DNA inside of
You're
But
right.
the child is basically has recessive genes that make him human. He can't breathe through the water. He has to wear the
Right.
gear and everything. And he's so much tinier than everybody else, which more protection because he is a precious commodity. Much like the unobtainium was in the first one, it's a precious commodity, but you don't want to destroy what you have in order to get to it. This is that same thing, just not from an environmental state, but a familial state.
All right. Well, I'll wait and see.
It's very philosophical when you
It's-
actually sit down and watch it while altered.
It's going to be a lot of eye candy.
That's
it is
what
gonna,
I
it is
feel
gonna,
like.
it is going to be pretty.
It's going to be 60% eye candy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be great.
Yeah, the story.
All right.
The story's not anything groundbreaking, but it's something
All right.
that can hit home.
Then I'm going to talk about, I saw something that looked like Clan of the Cave Bear happening.
Oh,
And I liked it.
right.
The young lady they're focusing on's got a lot of attitude.
Right.
And it's obviously
Very savage,
native indigenous
very
people.
savage, dirty. Just like the cinematography is just
and there's
gritty.
a lot of sexism going on with why the girls can't hunt and can't this and can't that.
Yeah, it's like you don't hunt, you gather.
Now
kinda deal.
she's up against the bear. The bear's chasing her. She's getting in a good fight.
She's probably thinking to herself, it's like, I got to get through this because I can't let him be right.
Yeah, she's trying to survive it. And then the whole movie changes.
All right, what is it? You didn't tell us.
The name of the movie is
The name
Prey.
is Prey.
Okay.
P-R-E-Y.
Yeah.
And then suddenly the bear gets snatched up into the air like a wrestler move.
Yeah.
And you hear a very familiar...
It was very much like the way the bear gets snatched up. It's like if your kid's about to walk into traffic and you grab him by the shirt and pull him right back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, the bear is being deadlifted by a predator.
Yeah, so it's just like there's always a bigger fish. Just
Well,
like
no.
in Star Wars.
Well, I mean,
there's always a bigger predator.
And this is basically when the predators first came to Earth.
Okay,
This was their first trip through. And I looked at this and
so
I
it's
just
a
went,
Predator prequel,
Right.
Hey, I looked at this and I went, all right, I'm down.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm totally down.
You were
I like
down.
the
You were
attitude.
down before you knew what
I was
going
going
on.
to watch this before there was a Predator.
I mean,
in it.
there's a reason why you're sitting there going, I have to watch The Princess. By the way, Alan, you have to watch The Princess. It's
I have
amazing.
to watch The Princess.
Okay,
Mandalorian season 3. Let's just say I don't care. We're going to watch it.
We're gonna watch it, but
We're going to watch it. It's got a Baby Yoda.
We've got.
We're going to watch it.
We got the. It is the quest for Mandalore, basically.
Yeah.
And,
Star
I
Wars,
can't wait.
The Bad
and
Batch,
let's just
season
say
2.
we're going to get to see Din Djarin fighting armies of Death Watch Mandalorians.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
good. I'm good. We're going to watch it.
Dave
Star Wars.
Filoni and John Favreau.
Yeah.
I'll watch whatever they put up
Yeah,
on the screen.
Star Wars
man.
Bad Batch season 2.
Yep.
I'm not
30
as-
seconds into
I'm
it,
not
I
as-
went, and
you know,
we'll be watching
I'm
this.
not as excited about Bad Batch 2 as
Still gonna watch it.
I am about Skeleton Crew.
Oh, yeah.
And the Acolyte, but it's something that's ingrained in me. It's like it's the
You're gonna watch
continuation.
it.
It's like I have to watch
They
it.
never disappoint. Yeah.
And then, of course, a regular TV commercial comes on from director Jordan Peele.
Nope.
And then you
See,
just went,
that's the one I'm
you just
interested
went,
in.
and
All right.
here we go.
So
Nope.
Okay, Brandon,
So-
I know you're in the know.
Right,
I don't
right.
want to know anything about this
I'm not
movie
gonna tell you
'cause
anything about
it looks real interesting, but I love the title is hilarious.
I will tell you
Nope.
this. My friend Christian Kane, he went and saw this movie last night.
Yeah.
And I asked him, all right, I need a quick, review. I don't want to know anything about what happened in the movie. Just tell me, how was it? And he goes, it's better than Us, but not quite as good as Get Out. At which point I was like, all right, you sold my ticket right there
I'm good.
because I love all
Jordan
three of those
Peele's-
movies.
I'm
Jordan
good.
Peele's amazing.
He's got an interesting point of view, and just the title alone is hilarious.
I just feel like, nope.
and
Nope.
And I'm gonna butcher his name, but Daniel Okoye, the guy from Get Out, who's
Yes.
in this, and he was in Black Panther,
Yes.
and everything.
Great actor.
This actor you could literally just put him in front of a blue screen or
Yeah.
a green screen, reading the news or the back of a cereal box, and he'll be able to do it in such a way that you will sell $1 million worth of
you will
tickets.
pay attention.
He is an amazing.
He reminds me of a Shakespearean actor or something that
Very-
you can plug him in anywhere. and
Yeah,
he
very
adapts,
much so. Like the traditional actors of old who you saw him in
like
everything.
an old contract actor.
Right,
he's kind of
You're
theatrical.
gonna be in everything.
You could put him on stage or in film.
He could be
or
in
something.
anything.
So, yeah.
All right, speaking of somebody could be in anything, I saw Vigo's been working again.
Yeah, you're gonna get
Hello,
into some
Viggo
Mortensen.
Mortensen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna get into some
Dude,
some creepiness here.
Crimes of the Future is jacked up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
but you know what? It seems like from what I've read about him, that's the only projects he wants to do anymore. He's sort of an
pushing it.
unusual personality,
Man, he's
and he wants
pushing the
something that's
envelopes. He
different.
teams up with
Yeah.
Cronenberg here.
Yeah.
And they're doing some weird body
Well, I mean,
shaping
it's also
stuff, man.
it's also if you haven't seen it yet, it's very disturbing. I do recommend that if you are a Cronenberg fan, you need to see it. If you have an issue with body horror, stay away from it. But I will tell you this: if you've ever said that Kristen Stewart can't act, you're wrong.
I didn't think she could act, so am I going to be proven wrong finally? 'Cause
You can't watch
she
this
never
movie, Joe.
changes her
Oh, you're not going to watch
facial
this movie.
expression.
You're not
either.
going to watch
You can't watch this movie.
Okay, yeah,
But
these are movies.
The
I'm
one
not
I
gonna
got to
see.
watch, there's Michelle Yao, and she is everywhere all at once.
Everything, everywhere, all at once.
It is.
Well, Alan,
a-
this movie's been out for a while. So
I know,
mean,
but I haven't seen it yet. This was coming down the
Oh,
pipe,
so
man.
we're-
This is a
he got into
multiverse.
he got into that
I didn't
rabbit
know it
hole.
was out. And I'm like, multiverse movie, and I love the crack up in the thing. Don't upset me. I can fight really good. And I'm thinking, oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a bizarre thing. And then, of course, I saw Chris Pine go running across the screen in Dungeons & Dragons.
Well, finally,
we're-
Alan,
we're-
you got to something I wanted to.
Yeah. What's sad is we're really going to have to probably wait until the next half of the show to unpack
I
it
figured
correctly.
we'll just talk about that when we come back.
Oh, my
because
God.
We've seen
cracking me
Dungeons
up.
and Dragons. Okay, now the fun part of this is there's a lot of people that are Dungeons and Dragons fans. Even Max, I think, has played Dungeons and Dragons. Brandon, you're familiar. Alan, you're familiar. I'm not
met
familiar
the
at
guys
all.
that wrote it.
So we have interesting perspectives on this that I think we'll unpack when we come back, because I'm coming in as somebody that knows nothing about it, but yet I was intrigued by this trailer. It looks fun, and maybe this will be a gateway to people like me to get us, playing the board game.
You're absolutely right. And if it does, that's awesome, because honestly, Joe, with your storytelling, I think you could run an awesome D&D campaign.
Okay, cool. Well, that's what we're gonna zero on that. And then also Max has a deep cut. And also I have some stuff we're gonna weigh in. We didn't even tease this. We've got some we're chock full coming up here on Geek Tank Radio.
Chock full of nuts.
Absolutely. So you're listening to Geek Tank Radio. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
Anyhow, you'll have to wait. The kids are busy right now.
Oh, is the organ harvesting clown here?
Nah, Rusty comes on Tuesdays now.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
I mean, that's the kind of parties you used to host, Alan. I mean,
Used to?
Used to?
Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
I guess we're still at the Munsters birthday party with organ harvesting
Staying
clown.
in theme. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max over there behind the glass. And if you're just tuning in, we've been Alan's been giving us basically he had a list about a mile long. He gave us a little snippet of some of the geekdom that's on tap, which I mean, it's not going
coming.
anywhere. It's
My goodness.
geekdom is mainstream now, and
I think Geekdom was a travesty. It was a mistake. We
it's
need to get out of
marketable. So but anyway, hey,
Yeah,
you did.
making Chris Pine a thief is a bad idea, right?
Well, you left off with one, and this trailer for me popped up. It was actually in the middle of a video I was watching about the Statue of Liberty, for
Okay.
Tool Talk, and then this came on, and usually I skip if there's an advertisement that comes
so
up in
skip
YouTube.
ad, right.
Something, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? I watched the whole 2.5-minute trailer for Dungeons and Dragons coming up with Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez
Oh, yeah.
and a cast of others. And what caught my attention about this is I was watching the trailer. I didn't know what the movie was about. It just looked interesting. And then at the end, it says Dungeons and Dragons. I never guessed that's what this movie was for, which I guess is a good thing because I know nothing about the game or whatever.
Right,
but it's
right.
interesting because, Max, you've played Dungeons and Dragons. Alan has played it. Brandon's played it. I'm the newbie, so we all have different perspectives. But Max, what did you think? I mean, you're a purist, I guess. So
I mean, not necessarily a purist, but it was pretty fun to be like, oh, I recognize that. That's an owl bear. That's a gelatinous cube. That's a mimic. It's finally good to see like a mimic on the screen.
that owl was cool. It was like an owl bear slash. I don't know what it was, but it was
That's
cool.
a famous D&D monster.
Yeah, the
I
owlbears,
liked
and she's a were creature.
Yes.
She's a shapeshifter, and that's amazing.
So what is the deal here? Because
okay.
Dungeons and Dragons is a board game. You use your imagination. For those who don't know,
No,
it-
Joe.
Okay, well-
no, it's
Joe,
role playing,
Joe.
right?
You go back in time, and you had some guys, mathematicians like Gary Gygax and Alan Hammond, sitting around, and they came up with basically a ratio game
Yeah,
of
it's all math.
the probability of something happening.
I didn't know there was any math. In
There's
this,
a
so-
lot.
There's
Okay.
a lot of math, dude.
All right.
It's Dungeons and Dragons is about
Nowadays,
70% math.
Nowadays,
It's not so much.
It's got a system based, situation where you don't need to be smart at math.
Okay.
But beforehand, you basically needed a doctorate to play it correctly.
Well, in small addition and subtraction, man, you could always tell the D&D players
Yeah.
because anything under 20, man, they were calculators.
Just so I'm clear, because all the Dungeons and Dragons geeks, they sit around the table, they say, okay, we're going to go on a campaign to do blah, blah,
Okay.
blah. So wait, you're saying they put a mathematical equation to, am I going to win this sword fight, or am I going to conquer this
Here
bear?
we go. All
Is
right,
that-
you're going to be a Gryffindor fighter, and you're going to have a sword that can do up to 7 points of damage.
Okay.
But there's only a 30% chance you can harm this guy because of his armor. So you're going to roll to see if you hit him. And then you're going to roll to see what kind of damage you did to him.
But the problem is that you didn't roll a perception check first, because then you would have seen the druid in the fields that's casting a spell that puts an actual negative 30 modifier on him as well. So there's no way that you personally can hit it without something to boost your stats.
Question: I'm just picturing a bunch of college kids playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
You couldn't play this game drunk, right?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
you can.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
So
I mean,
here's-
you got all these calculations to make.
Here's the great thing about it, Joe. Is like,
man.
once you've learned the skills that you need to play,
Yeah.
you could totally just be completely zooted out of your gourd, and that stuff's going to come to you quicker than it would if you were, sober, going, all right, how do I do this?
Yeah.
It's like riding a bicycle. You never forget, even if you're wasted.
No,
There you
don't
go.
try it, Max.
Yeah.
But one more question. I'm sorry,
Okay.
but you're making me think of this.
No, we're here to answer your
I
question.
can relate to poker. I used to be pretty good at poker
Right.
back in
Okay.
the day. Okay, poker is not just about calculations and what are the odds. It's also
bluster.
bluffing. It's
Right.
also
Right.
betting correctly.
Right.
Is there elements of that in
Yes.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Outsmarting the DM is a time-honored tradition.
And it
Dungeon Master. That's
Right.
who's
Yeah,
leading the
That's
campaign.
All right.
Now, here's-
for your edification,
yeah.
basically you think of all of your characters in stereotypes because each character brings a certain skill set. So you're a carpenter.
Right.
I'm a sheetrock guy. Brandon does low voltage wiring. So we would be stereotypes on a job site.
Okay.
You would be taking care of the framing. I'd be taking care of getting the sheetrock
Gotta
up.
make sure it works.
Brandon would make sure the computers and everything worked when we were done.
Right.
All right, welcome to D&D.
Yeah.
You got a fighter
so-
who's primarily strong. You got a thief who's primarily sneaky. You have other characters who bring
Some people are
skill
faster.
sets.
Some people are
Joe,
what-
in a basic thing, you would be a paladin.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever that
Alan,
is, yeah.
Allan would be a wizard. I'd be a rogue.
Okay.
Very easily, yeah.
Okay, so because we don't want to. So that sets up this Dungeons and Dragons
Now that
trailer
sets up
because
the
the thing
premise
is,
for the movie,
The
yes.
movie itself just looked interesting to
And
me.
it-
So
right,
is
and
it
it's
gonna? Is it? I mean,
All right.
how true to the source material? What do you think?
So here's
what are we seeing?
Here's the
here?
great thing about it: the storyline that if you played D&D, you have played the scenario before. You're a group of mercs, basically. You're thieves. You have been paid for a job. You go forth and you do the job, and you return there's a hiccup or two in the midst of it. There always is. You get the item that you've stolen and you get it back to the person who has hired you, only to find out that you just took one of the most precious and powerful artifacts and put it in the hands of one of the most evil people on the planet. And now you're being held responsible for the fact that you've screwed up the entire world.
Yep.
And you've got to go in and fix it.
Is that what Chris Pine's?
That's pretty
character
much you
did?
just laid out the movie there, Brandon.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it.
that's,
And don't give spoilers.
no,
if you
no,
know anything,
no.
but yeah.
It's like I'm not.
But
gonna-
trust me, this D&D campaign has been played about 12 million times.
And I mean, we've got people like like Sophia Lillis, who's her breakout role was in the It movies as young Beverly. She is the one who plays the Were Owlbear.
Yeah.
Justice Smith, who we saw in Detective Pikachu, he's the young thief. Chris Pine's the veteran thief. You've got Michelle Rodriguez as the the seasoned fighter.
yes.
I love Michelle Rodriguez.
You've got Hugh
She's cool.
Grant as the king.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, why not? Hugh Grant.
He actually looks like he's having fun again.
What's really great about
For a
this,
while,
and
he checked out of
I know a
that
lot
thing.
of I know a lot of people who do not like the D&D movie with Marlon Wayans. I love it because it's I mean, you look at it and you can tell the scenario because it's like you've only got one player character. He's the only one who's allowed to go in to do this quest. We've all had that scenario, and it's like you're stuck outside with the rest of the NPCs. But you got Jeremy Irons as the evil, villain in that.
Right.
That's called typecasting.
It's like, here's the thing. If you look at these guys, these are Oscar, these are award-winning caliber actors,
Yes.
and playing these high-level fantasy characters,
Right.
and you can tell when they're having fun.
This energy, like I said, I usually skip these ads. I usually, and even if they're movie ads, and this one caught my attention, and then especially at the end when it said Dungeons and Dragons, because I was not expecting that at all.
And see, the thing is the moment you saw Chris Pine and you see this stuff, it's like, okay, what is this? And then when he says, sometimes there's retribution, and you see a dragon come through, you're like, all right, I got to keep watching this.
And there's an epic quality, and it's very cinematic, and it looks. So we're gonna definitely. I forgot to look. When is it coming out?
It will be out
because I definitely want to see this in theaters. Alan,
It was in the shortly category. Yeah, it was in the.
It comes out March 3rd, 2023. So we'll get to watch it before we go to Mid-South Con next year.
Okay, perfect. Well, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. But Max, I think, are we calling this a deep cut? We want to transition.
A deep cut. Maximilian.
I refuse to call.
He just likes the Fruit Ninja.
He just wants to push the button.
He just wants the Fruit Ninja button.
Well,
I like the Fruit Ninja button.
No, the
It's
Fruit
kinda
Ninja's
cool.
button's great, but I mean, come on.
He's
Max.
never played Fruit Ninja for real, though.
You
I
haven't?
need to get him into that game.
I didn't get to push the button on Tool Talk Radio, so I just needed to do it now.
Okay, well, I can completely understand that. I know what you're fixing to dive into, and
I'm excited.
I'm super excited for this subject.
yeah.
We mentioned it. We mentioned about all these fun trailers for all this different stuff coming out, but I wanted to take a deep dive related to the fact that one of the trailers that we didn't discuss was for the new series called Trigun Stampede, which is a new look at Vash the Stampede, the main character's origins. And I didn't so much want to talk about like the excitement about the trailer, but more so what it provoked. It was more interesting to me, like, you know what? What's the origins of space westerns like Trigun? Because Trigun represents the three great space western animes of the 1990s. The other two are Outlaw Star and Cowboy Bebop, which came out in 1996 and 97, respectively.
Because these are pivotal animes, right?
These are very pivotal animes.
Classics.
And Trigun is one of the very rare instances where like this the dub of the anime is like much better than the Japanese subtitles. It's just one of those weird instances where I actually enjoy that much more than the Japanese sub.
Because, Max, you and I agree on this. I think, generally speaking, even though you speak fluent Japanese, so you understand, but even when I'm watching Attack on Titan or something, I watch it in Japanese with the English subtitles. I just prefer it that way. But you're saying this is a case where you prefer hearing it in English?
Yes, it's one of those rare instances.
With Trigun, yeah. There's something about the inflection that you get in the English dub of Trigun that you don't get with the Japanese dub or with the original language dub, and it's because of that inflection hits on a very American Western based sarcasm.
And this brings me to the origins of space westerns, because I feel like the origins actually will lie in the West, because with anime, the origins lie in the West. It's just that the Japanese took what we did and made it a little bit better.
Well, I mean,
an opinion.
Well, they made it their own.
They made it their own.
Hey,
Well, all right, let's face it. Samurai movies and cowboy movies have stolen from each other since the very first ones came out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then so let's shift gears.
Seventh
Samurai, we got that. But I want to go back a little bit further. I want to go back to the 1930s. An author by the name of C.L. Moore helped create one of the very first space western heroes, and his name was Northwest Smith.
Space Western you're talking about, it's almost like if you were to take the themes that you get in a Clint Eastwood movie, but it's in space. And
they're both final frontiers. They're both
Okay.
untapped territories, lawlessness, because how can you govern a vast expanse like space? How could you govern a vast expanse like what the Wild West used to be, which is now no longer wild since like the 1900s.
Okay.
It's dog eat dog. And so you kind of have to like navigate all these rough environments and everything. So Northwest Smith was one of the first, came out around the 1930s. And C.L. Moore, and by the way, she's not related to Allan Moore, which would be kind of an interesting tie there.
That'd have been too weird.
That would have been too weird, yeah. So then we got Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon were also early influences. But funny enough, the space westerns actually, the Comics Code Authority, like in the 1950s, that actually kind of helped space westerns, which is ironic because the Comic Books Authority really damaged the reputation of like horror comics,
right?
And
they ruined horror.
They ruined horror comics, and they kind of nerfed like modern comic, our types of superhero comics too. But space westerns actually kind of thrived during this time.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that because I knew Western comics came about. I can't even think of a space Western comic that I would have heard of. I don't know. Maybe
Buck
I'm missing
Rogers.
some. I couldn't care less about Buck Rogers. Yeah,
You heard of it?
Adam Strange, Captain Comet. It's all about a Lone Ranger.
Okay.
In the unbridled territory.
Okay.
Well, I mean, keep in mind the early Westerns that were thrilling audiences around the world actually had people from the Wild Wild West in them.
Yeah.
So, they were a little older, they were retired, maybe they were just the consultant on the movie. But, a lot of gunslingers that lived through it made it to the movies.
Yeah. Yep.
And, so there was a certain, we did it like that. No, we didn't do it like that. This is how it went. And the next thing you knew, when Japan discovered film, the next obvious thing was for them was the soap opera of the samurai.
Exactly.
And now suddenly you have these two wonderful layouts that keep crossing over. So you still wind up with samurais in space. I would hesitate to bring up a Jedi, but
Well, I mean, we've been skirting around it. Star Wars is a space.
They kind of also apply it under the topic of space opera, but it does have its origins in Westerns because when you look at characters like Han Solo and even Boba Fett, I had learned that Boba Fett was inspired by the man with no name from Clint Eastwood's famous characters from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, The Mandalorian is a Clint Eastwood.
That's about as
space, basically. Yeah.
That's about as Clint Eastwoody or Western as you can get.
It's full on Sergio Leone.
It is.
I mean, the
when I saw the
Mandalorian
original
is it's Kurosawa.
trailer for that.
It's Kurosawa. It's Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yeah.
Can I ask you something,
Yeah,
Max?
but I remember the very first trailer. I could actually hear 60s spaghetti western music playing in the background.
Hopefully, we won't hit for a copyright on that.
Is it right to say, generally speaking, Max, that one thing I like about anime is it seems like it's very character driven and they have unusual characters, and I feel like in space westerns they really zero in on character. Is it kind of the same here?
I would say so, yes, because circling back to Trigun. Trigun is a very character-driven anime. The main character is literally a foil to your typical gunslinger. Vash the Stampede, for those who don't know, this is a good introduction for people who don't know about Trigun. But Vash the Stampede is not a lot. I kind of call him a Batman in a red overcoat because Vash the Stampede, he's a gunslinger, yes, but he uses his gun with such precision because he doesn't want to kill people. And so he uses his weapon, he uses his pistol in a non-lethal way.
Okay, that sounds like a hero, but you're saying he's a villain.
He's not a villain.
Okay.
Here's the thing about
that's cool. I like that.
Here's the thing about Vash. Vash is a wanted man. He is the $60 billion wanted man who is being chased by the Bernadella Insurance Company because of the fact that everywhere he goes, everything gets destroyed.
His nickname is the Humanoid Typhoon.
So he might.
However, he doesn't know that's his nickname. That's the part that cracks you up.
He learns this later on, and it's like but
he doesn't understand that
actually,
he is
Max,
the Stampede.
Is he the blonde guy we saw in the Trigun
Yes.
trailer?
Oh, yeah,
Because the animation looks really cool. And now that you tell me this,
you just stabbed me, man.
Yeah, I like
you
characters that
liked
don't
that
kill.
animation, but it's like I'm sitting there going, God, this looks horrible.
It's very stylized.
It's just there are iconic looks to certain characters, Vash being one of them.
Oh, I see.
And I'm gonna still watch it because I want the story. I can get, but it comes across in that same animated style like regular show and stuff like that to me because of the fact that it's like it doesn't look right, especially when I'm a traditionalist. It's like your story may be amazing, but if I'm gonna watch it, I want it to look like it's supposed to. It's like I had to listen to the latest Ninja Turtles thing without actually looking at it because of the fact of the art style. But I loved the storyline. It was great. So I'm excited for this. At the same time, I'm cringing because the last thing Vash needed was more of an emification.
Emo? What is that?
Okay. So Vash,
emo now.
Vash is very emotional.
Oh,
and
okay.
he tries to play it off through humor and everything else. But you learn that as you go through the series. I think I got to get Max to set up a thing so that Joe and us can watch.
I definitely want to see
because
this.
I think you'd love it.
No, the trailer
Yeah,
caught
sense
me.
of humor is perfect for Joe.
Joe is going to be a Wolfwood fan like there's nobody's business.
I mean, he's literally a man of the cloth who carries a giant machine gun called the Punisher.
Yeah,
but it
we've
looks
seen
like a big
it. It looks like a cross.
Yeah.
Well, Max, one thing, because you are probably, of all of us, probably the most well-versed in anime, some of the premises
he does keep trying to change our name to Weeb Tank Nation, but yes, I guess all good.
Well, I'll be talking to Max about, I'm watching this. I'm watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I'm watching this. And then he tells me the premise of the shows or what characters do. And I'm like, okay, who cooked this up? I never heard of anybody doing this.
What's amazing is that if you look below the surface of any anime, you're going to scratch an amazing mythos behind it.
Right. Yeah, and there's usually, you're watching it, and they throw all these, just the dialogue. Everything is usually surprising. Like
Joe would also like One Piece.
One Piece. I don't know if I heard of that one. So
that's very generic, but that's kind of off topic.
Yeah,
because we're talking about space westerns, and One Piece is very much not space western.
Hey, there's nothing more space western than pirates with superpowers.
That's true.
Well, Max, so this is obviously was the space western? Did it start in America and then it moved its way to
it
Japan,
started in America, yes, of course, because like you have the combination of the Final Frontier. And then it's like, you know what? Science fiction's kind of creeping in during those Pulp Fiction days and everything. So it's like, let's kind of marry the best of both worlds right there. However, it really kind of gained a very terrible reputation around like the 60s or 70s or so. It like kind of got the bad rap of saying, oh, this is like just what a bunch of hack writers do and everything. But it wasn't until like around the 80s or the 90s that it sort of had a revitalization with the help of things like Trigun, or with the help of like certain animated specials, like there's like things like Brave Star, or The Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, which are very unknowns even to me, but those kind of help bring it back to bring Space Western back to life.
Well, I mean, you could also throw Ralph Bakshi in this for bringing up adult-level cartoons.
Well, he's a troublemaker.
Well, he is a troublemaker, but...
Yeah, we got to remind people, anime is all over the map. You could have the cutesy little Pokemon stuff, and then you got serious, like,
well,
real
you get into, like, Vampire
stuff.
Hunter D, or you get into some of the more upper level of... different productions, and they take on some very bizarre and hard storylines. I'm Reign the Conqueror. Was one of the most bizarre I had ever seen, because it really took on history from a Macedonian point of view, but it also brought in everybody of the era, including the birth of Egypt.
Yeah.
And, the Pythagoras and
that's where Black Adam's from, Joe.
Oh, yeah. Well, I want to ask you about that next week, because I wanted to have a Black Adam discussion. So, hey, Max, I do have a question, though. If I want to get up to date and get caught up on Trigun, how much content is there out there? Are we talking?
You just asked to borrow the DVDs from me.
No, I mean, but is it like a lot of episodes?
I think there's only like 26 episodes, and then there's a spin-off movie called Trigun Badlands Rumble.
Okay, that's doable. How long are these episodes? Are they 20 minutes?
20 minutes.
Okay, that's manageable, because some of these you go, oh yeah, there's 400 episodes and it's been going around.
You could seriously sit down and watch Trigun on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I would say, folks,
it's light. Trigun also
it's very
wasn't
bingeable.
a heavy one.
Well, I would also tell.
It gets heavy later on.
Yeah, well,
but
once
in a
you
good
begin
way.
discovering the first two seasons of Trigun are all light and funny, and then it gets kind of serious because then you begin to find out.
We're going to call it
really
volumes because there's technically only one season.
Yeah, I know. There's only one season.
Yeah.
Season 1, Season 2.
I would say this out there too, and it's funny. Sometimes we're resistant. Alan, you call it legacy thinking. You might go, oh, I'm not interested in anime. You've never watched an anime. No. You've never given it 2 seconds.
You just haven't hit the right anime.
Actually, if many people say I'm not interested in anime.
Yeah,
and then you'll start talking about cartoons. I want to talk about Voltron or Robotech, and I was like, you were watching anime.
But you should give it a look, because man, I've encountered so many animes that are out of the box, and the characters, man, you really care about the characters. These stories are in depth and they keep you on your toes, and so we'll be
Trigun has one of the best main antagonists out there, Legato Blue Summers.
Yeah, so we'll be checking that out. When is it coming out, Max?
It's 2023.
Okay,
you got plenty of time to catch up on the old stuff.
Awesome. Gosh, I wish we had another one. I wish we had more time, but we don't. So it's time to get out of here, you guys. So you've been listening to another action-packed episode of Geek Tank Radio. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmstead, reminding you that I'm going to show up with a big dossier of SDCC stuff next week.
Nice.